Global TV News Express. President Tinubu says his government's executing bold reforms to tackle economic challenges. Military warns hoodlums infiltrating hunger protests. Activists stand by mechanism. Urges protesters to shelve demonstrations. And in sports, Tottenham to battle Chelsea for Osimhen. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. We would like to remind you that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365. Tonight, let's begin by telling you President Bola Tinubu says his administration is undertaking bold economic policies to propel Nigeria's economy out of the downturn occasioned by multiple shocks in the global economy. He also called for global cooperation among African countries to tackle their shared economic challenges and take advantage of opportunities. The president spoke today when he declared open the 2024 African Caucus meeting at the Transcorp Hotel, Abuja. Tinubu's remarks are coming on the back of protests against hardship that started yesterday across the country. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has appealed to Nigerians to be civil and peaceful while exercising their rights. He also warned those who may want to hide under the guise of protest to perpetrate violence to rescind their decisions. The defense chief gave the warning and appeal while briefing newsmen on the ongoing nationwide protest against hunger and bad governance at the defense headquarters in Abuja. Kikelama Okere tells us more.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, noted that the security operative, especially the police, are very professional in handling the protest, calling on Nigerians to show understanding with the federal government.
We want to appeal to Nigerians to understand that the federal government is doing the best it can for the country. The federal government, the present regime is just there for less than 1 year, and it is not possible for them to have solved every financial, economic, security situation within 1 year. But I'm sure everybody, if we're truthful to ourselves, efforts have been made and have continued to be made. We have seen policies that have been made to address the economic situation on the ground, including security situation. Things are improving. We are not where we are, but I can assure you we're heading there. And if we have the support of everyone together, we can bring total peace and the economy will pick up.
The Chief of Defense Staff further stated that the military will not fold its hands and watch the country drift into anarchy, pointing out that the military is watching and will step in if the situation gets out of Nigerians.
Just to give an update as to the situation that's ongoing, we're all aware of what happened yesterday. The government have actually shown its own commitment by upholding its promise to allow people to associate freely without any rancor. But I'm sure everyone is disappointed with the outcome. Clearly, the security forces have done extremely very well. I'm very happy to mention what especially the Nigerian police force, have shown a lot of professionalism, including where members of the armed forces had to step in. But you can see that we have remained very professional in our conduct. I will continue to do that, as long as the citizens also understand that there's a difference between peace and criminality. What we saw yesterday was, at the beginning, some semblance of a very peaceful demonstration, but which was quickly taken over by a bunch of criminals that don't mean us well.
He added that the government is doing its best to address the economic situation in the country, urging the citizens to hold the local and state government more accountable. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Defense correspondent Kike Lomo Okere there, following up on development. As protests against hunger kicked off nationwide, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, was spotted at the presidential villa in Abuja earlier today. Developments, some have speculated to be a meeting with President Bola Tinubu, though the topic of their possible discussion remained unknown at the time. The visit is reportedly connected to hunger protests, which began yesterday with the FCT becoming an epicenter. The national hunger protest has entered day 2 with the Federal Capital Territory deserted and a minute group of 11 youths driven away from the Federal Secretariat access of the city by the Nigerian Police Force. Anthony Momodu reports.
The August National Hunger Protest, which entered the second day, witnessed smaller number of protesters seen around the Eagle Square axis, insisting they would continue to protest regardless of the intimidation from security agencies. All right, this is the second day of the hunger protest in Nigeria, and we're at the Federal Capital Territory. We're close to the Eagle Square, where was initially planned for the protest, and we're still seeing some Nigerian youths still demonstrating and still protesting the hunger in the land. And so let's get a view of what they think is happening at the second day of the hunger protest.
Well, as for the security agencies, I'll be peculiar with the police in particular, because we were here yesterday and we attempted marching. As you can see, they're coming towards us. I don't know, maybe with the intent to arrest us or to shoot tear gas at us.
All right, that's the situation in the Federal Capital Territory, where the Nigerian Police Force is insisting that this group of protesters move to the National Stadium to conduct their protest. And you could see the police tactically pushing them away from near the Eagle Square and insisting that they move towards the National Stadium, where the High Court in the Federal Capital Territory has earmarked for the youths to carry out their protest. An interview at the National Stadium, some co-conveners of the protest said the violence witnessed on day 1 was triggered by the actions of the security agencies.
It is unfortunate. There's skirmishes of violence that you have, especially in FCT here in Abuja, was caused by the security agencies. The thing about this protest, it must go on. This is day 2. Nigeria must be better. Some of us are coming out, and like I usually say, Nigeria will be better in my lifetime.
We're already seeing hardship that we have never experienced in our life. We had people that are even 50s telling us 60s, telling us this, they have never experienced this kind of hardship. And this banner you are seeing behind me, these are all people that were killed by bandits. Respected people, people that have invested so much in the society. Some of them are politicians also, they have contested. Some of them are security agencies. Some of them are, you see them here. These are just few. These are just few that can make it to the banner. In Zamfara State now, the news doesn't even make the media anymore. We don't even know if they are telling Mr. President the actual truth about what is going on in Zamfara State. Mr. President, Zamfara State is bleeding.
However, for this protester from Zamfara State, the issue of insecurity ravaging the state has been a worrisome one.
For this thing, we don't tire, because no peace for Nigeria. Bandit, they enter our family, our farm, they kill us, so we don't tire.
The Tinubu-led administration has vowed to look into the demands of the #EndBadGovernance protesters, thus leaving the door open for a gradual end of the protest for the good of the citizenry and nation. Anthony Momodu reporting for Global Television.
Thank you, Anthony. In Kano State, multitude of security operatives have been deployed across the state to enforce the 24-hour curfew following violence and looting of private and public properties worth millions of naira during the first day of the hunger protest. Correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that most residents are off the streets and indoors as businesses and places of work continue to remain closed.
This is Murtala Mohammed Way in Kano, one of the most busiest streets in the state. But it has now been deserted, with only presence of security men enforcing compliance with the curfew order.
It
was unfortunate that youth came out yesterday instead of protesting. They ended up stealing people's property, destroying government property. You will see somebody carrying air conditioner, fan, chair. This is the NCC Digital Park, meant to instill digital skills for youth in Kano State, that was completely destroyed and the ICT equipment looted.
My brother, I cannot talk because this thing affected everybody business so much. Me particularly, I'm staying inside the market, Sabongate. It's my wife that is selling this okpa. So now I cannot go anywhere. No food to eat. My wife must now take care of the family because if I go out before I hustle, I get what we eat for us.
Shops along Zaria Road were broken into and food items worth hundreds and thousands were taken away as the protesters equally stormed Audu Bako Secretariat, where they destroyed and looted government properties.
The point is that those in authority, they don't care. Even these protesters, again, some of them, my heart says some of the big men have left the country. Not the solution. I get my point. But our message to the government that they should do something about it, especially Mr. President, because he's supposed to have come out and address the nation since yesterday.
For Kano residents, the protest took an unfortunate, but it was meant to alert the government on the current economic hardship, accusing the government of negligence and incompetence.
From the day one of the entering subsidy, it didn't plan of anything to remove subsidy. What the meaning is that they want to kill the whole Nigeria. Yes. If you want to remove subsidy, you need to remove subsidy, yes, with brain. You can't just voice out that I remove subsidy and you don't have any plan.
Kano State Governor Abba Kabir had on Thursday declared a 24-hour curfew to prevent further breakdown of law and order arising from the hunger protest and escalating high cost of living among Nigerians.
Thank you, Jibrin, for bringing us to speed all the way from Kano State. Security forces have fired shots in the air and tear gas to break up protests, and states have imposed curfews as thousands joined rallies across the country against the cost of living. Protesters say they were out on the street to exercise their right to peaceful demonstration without undue interference by law enforcement agents. Let's turn to other stories now. One of the organizers of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest, the Take It Back movement, has condemned attacks by some men of the Nigeria Police Force on protesters gathered at the Berger roundabouts in the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Early on today, police officers stationed at the roundabouts tear-gassed protesters and journalists alike who were gathered at the venue for the second day of the protest. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has called on medical personnel to report anyone with gunshot wounds to the police. The command says it engaged some hoodlums in a fierce gun duel, with many of them escaping with gunshot injuries, adding that the hoodlums had taken advantage of the hunger protest to embark on massive extortion and assault on innocent citizens along the Lugbe end of the Federal Capital Territory. The Muslim rights concern MURIC says that the ongoing nationwide protest has been hijacked. In a statement, the founder and executive director of MURIC, Professor Ishaq Akintola, called on the conveners to stop the protest. The hunger protest took place in several states of Nigeria yesterday and today. Although it was peaceful in some states, it became violent along the line in others, with some lives allegedly lost and several buildings and vehicles torched and destroyed. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, also called CISLAC, has called for the protection of protesters amid growing concerns that the demonstrations have been hijacked by criminal elements and political actors with nefarious intentions. Executive Director of the center, Awal Rasajani, condemned the hijack of the peaceful protests in some places. The Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, has identified peace as catalyst for the development of any society and called his subjects to always pursue the path of peace in changing grievances. The Emir made the assertion while receiving multitudes of protesters who visited him at the Gedon Nasarawa Palace to seek his royal blessing. He said the importance of peaceful development cannot be overemphasized, particularly at this trying period in Nigeria's history. Kebbi State Governor Dr. Nasir Idris has appealed to the organizers of the ongoing End Bad Governance protests in the state to suspend their activities. The governor made the plea while addressing the people of the state on the current state of the nation shortly after an emergency State Security Council meeting. Sharon Ajay now tells us more.
According to Governor Idris, available intelligence suggests that some unpatriotic elements plan to import mercenaries from outside the state to cause chaos in Kebbi State.
The government of Kebbi State is doing everything possible to address the challenges faced by its people. So therefore, we want to plead with the organizers of this protest to see reason. You only know the beginning of the protest. You will not know how it will end.
The protest has been relatively peaceful in Kebbi State, with only minor incidents of violence reported in some local government area. The governor's appeal aims to prevent potential escalation. As of the time of filing this report, no protest has been recorded in Kebbi State, with people going about their normal businesses. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Katsina State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew in Dutsima local government area of the state. Secretary to the government of the state, Abdullahi Garba Faskari, announced the decision in a statement issued in the state. Garba Faskari stated that the government under the acting governor, Farouk Jobe, has also banned unusual gatherings and all types of protests across the state. Governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, has imposed a 24-hour curfew following the escalation of violence on the first day of the nationwide protests in the country. The governor, who announced the curfew in a state broadcast, described the developments in the state. He, however, approved that the curfew be relaxed on Friday for 2.5 hours to enable worshippers to attend the Juma prayer in the mosque. Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company, KETCO, has disconnected the Kaduna Government House over 2.9 billion naira debts. In a statement signed by its head of corporate communication, Abdulaziz Abdullahi, it says the government house had not paid for electricity consumed in 7 months. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has approached the removal of the chairman of the state's Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. John Chem. The State House of Assembly had recommended the removal of the Commission's chairman. Members accused him of poor judgment. According to the statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary, Kula Tresco, and made available to journalists in Makurdi, the state capital, the governor had accepted the resolution. You're watching News Prime, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. We are on DSTV, channel 365, and Star Times, channel 276. Follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles as you now see on your screen. When News Prime returns tonight, Tottenham to battle Chelsea for Osimhen. We'll bring you these and other stories after this short break. We urge you not to go away. This is Global Television, bringing you a live broadcast of News Prime with Thuyi Agmofwewe. Thank you so very much for staying with us. Now let's turn to business. Motor spirits continues today scarcity while depots ration the product released to marketers. In Abuja, some stations were observed to have been shut, while the few ones that dispensed petrol recorded different levels of queues. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and NPCL filling stations along Wuse Zone 1 had long queues of motorists who sought to buy petrol. Michael Deacon has details. Have details of that story for you later. Bayelsa State has been thrown into a blackout as suspected vandals tampered with 2 transmission towers, T98 and T99, which supply power to the state at Igbogene community in Yenagoa local government area. The incident has led to the collapse of the 2 132 kV lines that transmit electricity to the state from Owerri in Imo State through Ahoda in Rivers State. On the foreign scene, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have hawked journalists Evan Gershkovich as he and 2 other Americans arrived back to the U.S. soil after being freed by Russia in a huge prisoner swap. Wall Street Journal reporter Gershkovich, former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan, and journalists Alsu Komasheva were met by cheers from family and friends as they disembarked a plane before each embracing Biden and Harris. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has insisted that his party is ready to present all the vote tallies from his country's disputed election after the polls observers said it could not be considered democratic. The National Electoral Council NEC declaration that Maduro won has sparked 2 days of protest with the country's opposition, saying voting tallies show its candidate Edmundo Gonzalez won by a wide margin. In sports, Tottenham Hotspur are set to challenge Chelsea in the race to sign Napoli's prolific striker Victor Osimhen as they seek to fill the void occasioned by Hurricanes' departure. The North London club have been monitoring the 25-year-old Nigeria international, with Football Insider revealing that sports boss Ange Postecoglou is desperate to sign a new striker this summer. A Fulham Football Club has confirmed the signing of Emile Smith-Rowe from Arsenal for an undisclosed fee. The England international has penned a 5-year contract, keeping him at Craven Cottage until the summer 2029, with a club option to extend by a further 12 months. As we end the News Prime here on Global Television tonight, let's bring you a recap of some of our big stories. President Bola Tinubu has said his government is executing bold reforms to tackle economic challenges. The Nigerian military has warned hoodlums infiltrating hunger protests, stating that its forces are on standby. Kebbi State Governor has urged promoters of protests against hunger to shelve demonstrations. And finally, in sport, we told you Tottenham have been scheduled to battle Chelsea for Osimhen. And that's it on News Prime tonight, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Global Television. Just a quick reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using the Global TV, NG, and other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyag Mofwewe saying thank you on behalf of the entire production team here at Global Television in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, for watching. I'll see you again.